Hello, my potheads. The task at hand is going to be repotting a plant that has outgrown its pot. So let's start by going through each of the items I have laid out for us today. First and foremost, you're gonna need the plant that you're gonna repot. When I first got this plant, this was the only stem, and then these two have sprouted up, which was very surprising and very exciting, but now it needs a bigger space, more cheese for its egg, to quote Cardi B. And then you're gonna need the pot that it will ultimately end up in, which is this one, Sweet Digs, stripy. Got it at the Goodwill. So you can tell that this one is a little bit bigger than this one. If you don't replace it, once it gets to a point where it's busting at the seams, then there will be no more room for the roots to grow, which will ultimately kill the plant. I would like it to continue to grow, so I want to repot it into this. You're also gonna need soil to help fertilize it. This is Miracle Grow. You can use store-bought soil because it does come with nutrients that you wouldn't find otherwise. And then my favorite part, you're gonna need, oh my gosh, it's so heavy, some compost. Now I got this little countertop compost bin at Target. What you do is whenever you have food scraps, coffee grounds, anything that's biodegradable and naturally occurring, you can put in here, and then they'll eventually all of the material, all the waste will break down into like a soil looking texture. It'll be brown. It's super weird. And then it's always good to just have some water on hand to kind of make the mix a bit more fluid and make it just a bit more forced cohesion between them. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get the new pot, and you're going to want to fill it about 1/4 to 1/3 of the way up with soil. So you can just dump it in. If it's a smaller pot, you can use like a spoon or something. So I filled it about 1/3 of the way up, then introduced the compost. So I opened it up, I took the lid off, and it smells the way I'd imagine a rotting Renaissance goat would. And it looks about the same too. It's very sludgy and brown and a little bit clumpy with some of the newer additions. I can see like these full turnips that I put in there because I forgot to eat them in time. You're gonna want to fill it about to halfway, and the reason I say that is because the older plant, it is a significant amount smaller, but it does have a pretty good area, and you want to leave room in the pot for the root system that's already developed in the older pot. So you just take a few scoops of the compost. Try to avoid any of the newer things that haven't broken down very much, because you don't want them to take over the nutrients and start growing. I've had that where I accidentally grew potatoes in a plant. So you fill that up to about halfway, and then you immediately put the lid back on because it's unbearable. The next step is the most important and probably the most challenging of the steps, if there needed to be a ranking, but it is removing the older plant from its previous base and replanting it in the new pot. So the best way to do it is to take it and kind of put your hand as much as you can to cover the full area and just flip it above the new pot and kind of shimmy the old pot off, and it will look something like this. You can see the root system, you can, like the little lighter spots are where the roots are, and it's pretty much held the shape of the pot. That's how you know that it's definitely time for a new pot, is because it's enveloped the whole area of the older pot. It's coming up a little bit above the edges, so I'm just gonna shimmy it a little bit down. Right now, it's a little bit loose, like you can see it shakes around, and there's a bit of area around the edges of the pot that are not full of soil. So right now I'm just gonna kind of move the plant over to one side, fill it with soil, move it to the other, fill it with soil. Okay, So the last thing you're gonna wanna do is add a little bit of water just to kind of kickstart the growth and allow the root system and the new soil and the compost to all kind of mesh. The water is just a catalyst for that to happen. All right, so once you have placed some soil and some compost in the new pot, removed it from the older pot, put it in the new one, added some soil to the new plant, and then watered it a bit to start the growth, that is really all you need to do. Thanks for watching today. Hopefully you've enjoyed learning about how to repot a plant. Please like and subscribe. If you also like to tango and are left-handed, want to install an AC system and only speak Japanese, or don't know how to put up posts to support your back patio and need to by the end of the week.